Let's begin our exploration of downward dog in child's pose. So come onto your mat with your big toes touching behind you, your knees at shoulder width apart, and your head heavy on the mat. The back of your neck is long here. Take some nice deep breaths. And on your next inhalation, reach your arms up overhead. Keep your head down. Just put your hands at what feels like shoulder width apart, and then stretch your arms like you're doing downward dog with just your arms. We're going to work on our hands here and refine them. So I want you to see if you can roll the weight to the index and thumb sides of both hands and make your outer wrists so light you could even lift them up off the mat. That's it. Now keep pressing the inner edges of your hands down and inhale, come up to your hands and knees. Rearrange your hands if they weren't at shoulder width apart. Bring your middle fingers to point straight ahead. Create even space between all of your fingers. And now that you can see your hands, roll the weight really clearly to the index and thumb sides of your hands. You want to keep your outer wrists light to protect your wrists for the long run of your practice. The outer wrist is not a weight-bearing place. It actually has the smallest bone in your limbs. It's called the pisiform bone. Now, let's look at the inner edges of our hands and get a little more clear about where we want the weight on our hands. There are 3 points. The first one is the base of your index finger, then the base of your thumb, and then your inner wrist. Again, the base of your index finger, the base of your thumb, and your inner wrist. Those 3 points form what we'll call the inner triads of your hands. They make a triangle. It's a nice evenly distributed place to roll the weight on your hands. Now, if you just do a little experiment and let your hands relax, you may see that precisely those points are what come up off the floor when you relax your hands, and the weight rolls right over to your outer wrists. Now we know that that's not a weight-bearing place, so you want to roll the weight always away from your outer wrist and toward the inner triads of both your hands. Now it may take you a little while to get that down. It took me a couple of years to get the inner triads heavy, so don't worry if it takes you a while. Just keep focusing on it. Roll your inner elbows to face each other, and now drop your head, look at your knees, walk them back so they're under your sitting bones, not under your belly button, and make your knees the width of your hips apart. Now let's do some cat-cow here. Inhale, look up and lift your sitting bones, and then exhale, drop your head and round your spine. Again, inhale up into a little back bend, and exhale, drop your head, round your spine. Again, inhale, look up, roll your shoulders back, and exhale, round. One more time here. Inhale, look up, and exhale, round. Again, inhale, look up, press the inner triads of your hands here. Now pause, curl your toes under, and exhale all the way into downward dog. Straighten your legs, lift your hips up. Watch your hands as you come into downward dog. I want you to watch them so you make sure you keep the inner triads of your hands down, especially if this is new for you. You really have to watch a part of your body to connect with it, at least in the beginning. Now, once you're sure the inner triads of your hands aren't going anywhere, you can drop your head, look at your feet. Make sure your feet are the width of your hips. That means the outer edges of your feet are in line with the outer edges of your hips. And now we're going to use our breath to work the pose. So inhale, stretch your arms, and exhale, wake up your legs. See if you could lift your toes, maybe even lift your kneecaps. Make your legs really strong. Soften your jaw and let your head hang.